From forgotten cities to entire homeless populations, stay tuned to number 1 to find out the most amazing unknown underground cities in the world. Number 10. The city underneath the house. The country of Turkey is known for many things, but one thing they've become unintentionally known for recently is the finding of underground cities in places they wouldn't expect. While you might think this is a rare occurrence, it's actually a bit common, as the country was known for underground cities in the ancient days. But the tale I'm telling you today is that of Mustafa Bozdemir of Anatolia, who one day found an entrance to an underground city. Nothing out of the ordinary there, right? Except that the entrance was right underneath his own house. That's right under his home, and he wasn't exactly looking for it either. He was simply trying to expand his single-story house by digging down, and when they did, they found a 43,000 square foot underground city. The underground city was active in the Roman, Byzantine, and Seljuk eras, and the other stone buildings that were there were built in the Ottoman and Republican periods. Local mayor Mehmet Osman Basogel said in comment. Being very smart with what he found, Mustafa is aiming to make some money off this site by making it a tourist attraction. And given its randomness and depth, that's a surefire moneymaker. Number 9. Edinburgh Vaults. All the way back in 1788, under the South Bridge in Edinburgh, Scotland, a series of vaults were made. The South Bridge was known for its businesses, and under the bridge was the workshops of those businesses. However, under that were living quarters. Or at least you could say they were living quarters. The truth was actually much worse. Basically, it was a caste system under the bridge. The lower you were, the lower you were in society's eyes. You might think that having to live in these vaults was a literal last resort for some people, and yet some went on to thrive down there. Criminal enterprises took to them like flies to honey. They offered gambling and even brothels. Yet the vaults were also used to dispose of bodies. And it made sense when you think about it, for no one above would dare enter the vaults. But as in all things, enough soon became enough, thus they abandoned the vaults. The vaults were officially closed in 1875 and were forgotten in time. But a rugby player in the 1980s wanted to help his defecting friend escape the police and get to the UK. He found a tunnel underneath the bar that actually led to the Edinburgh Vaults, which they used to get the man out. After being rediscovered, they were explored, restored, and opened up as a tourist attraction. Hopefully, they will teach a lesson to those who think that the caste system works. Number 8. Mayan cities in the forest. Before we talk about this amazing discovery, take a moment to like this video and join the Zero to Hero community by using the buttons below. The Mayans are one of the most mysterious people to ever walk this earth. They seemingly came out of nowhere, amassed power quickly, reigned for a great deal of time, and made their mark on history as a whole. But then, just as suddenly as they came upon the world stage, they left. Gone. And to this day, we're still making discoveries about the Mayans, and each one changes the way we look at them and expands their mystery. A great example of this is when a group of scientists used some laser technology to find a piece of Mayan culture, and in a place they did not expect to find it. This was done in Guatemala, where the forests are so thick that looking at anything on the ground is hard. Even trekking through it is difficult. So they used lasers to scan under the canopies of trees, and when they did, they found a massive Mayan settlement. To be clear, by settlement, I don't mean a small colony. Rather, they found homes, palaces, and even their own version of highways. The area had the potential to be home to millions of Mayans, according to researchers. I think this is one of the greatest advances in over 150 years of Mayan archaeology, said Stephen Houston, professor of archaeology and anthropology at Brown University. Because of this discovery, many scientists think that Mayans were an even bigger and grander culture than we originally surmised, which was already pretty grand. And it goes to show you that the ancient world still has some surprises up its sleeves. Number 7. Derinkuyu Underground City. As noted above, Turkey is known for having many underground cities, and they just keep seeming to find them. This particular city happened to be found in the Cappadocia region of the country. Back in their heyday, these cities were hand-carved from the volcanic ash that lies within them. Not your standard building materials, but they worked for the Turks. One of the biggest and most famous of them all, though, is the Derinkuyu underground city. Standing at 18 stories in size, it's a massive city. It's said that it could have housed around 20,000 people. How could that be? Now, as for how it was found, it was truly an accident. For a man in Turkey was trying to renovate his home in 1963, and he knocked down a wall to his house. He found himself looking at a secret tunnel, one that led to the city of Derinkuyu. Wait, didn't we have something like this before? Yeah, we did, but it's a different city. But it's near the same area. Anyway, there's lots of mysteries in this place. Easily the biggest is that it's unclear who made the city or when it was inhabited. One of the best guesses is Hittites, but there were a lot of big-name nations and cultures in this part of Turkey at the time, so your guess is as good as ours. Yet it's clear that whoever lived here had a thriving society, as there were shops, stables, meeting halls, and much more, including a stone door that was used to help protect the city. Number 6. The Bucharest Orphans. In Bucharest, there is a society of orphans that now reside in tunnels underneath the once great Roman city. Those who reside there are either abandoned or forgotten, and as such they do whatever they can to live and survive. How many people are living underneath Bucharest, you ask? It's hundreds of people. They're led by a man named Bruce Lee, and they're rife with drugs, alcohol, and all sorts of diseases. As for how this place came to be, when communism ended, any and all shelters that were up during the government shift were shut down, and because of that, all the kids were left on their own. Their only choice was to unite in order to survive. Number 5. Manhattan Underground. The United States may be a wonderful place to live for some, but go to New York, in the borough of Manhattan, and you'll find a large homeless population living under the streets. By the time 2006 rolled around, there would be over 50,000 people trying to find shelter for the night, or get food for them and their families. One of the biggest of these homeless communities can be found between 72nd and 122nd Street in Manhattan. Some of you may recognize that area because it's right underneath Riverside Park. There are 2 miles of tunnels that are filled with people, and it's growing. All the more tragic about this city is that the people above ground are trying to kick them out of the tunnels so that they can use them for their own purposes. That begs the question, if they succeed, where will these people go? Number 4. Herculaneum. The legend of Pompeii is known to the world at large, yet the volcano that destroyed the city also destroyed another city, one that wasn't rediscovered for many centuries. It was called Herculaneum, because technically it happened after Pompeii had fallen. What's more, because it was upwind of the volcano, the effects of this eruption not just wiped it out, but it actually preserved it perfectly via being buried in soot and ash. Fast forward to the 18th century, and a farmer was doing work on land that was his, but was also above Herculaneum. He began to dig a well and found some marble in the ground that he couldn't explain. The land itself should not have had such stonework. It was later realized that he had dug up part of the Roman theater that was in Herculaneum. Since then, the city has been dug up and examined and is a site of great historical reverence. Number 3. Seattle Underground. When Seattle, Washington was made, there were some issues that had to be worked out. One of the biggest ones was that all the houses in the city were made of wood. So when a big fire came and wiped out about 31 square blocks of the city, things had to change. One of the biggest changes was that the city raised the level of the streets and thus created a series of tunnels and buildings right underneath the feet of the public. This was done to create a new ground level for the people in the homes, so that if something should happen in regards to fires or floods, they could go down to the new basement and be safe. The underground was later shut down due to threat of disease. This place is a tourist attraction now, and you can even take guided tours to see all that was built in the 1800s. Number 2. Coober Pedy. Coober Pedy in Australia seems like any other town in the world. It just so happens that this town is right next to the biggest opal mine in the world. It definitely doesn't help, though, that their location is in a place that has no shade or barricade from the sun, which can literally roast the surface where the people live. So the people of the town made a decision. They were going to live in the mines. No joke, no lie, they lived there. But why live in a mine? Well, first off, it's cooler in there. Because of the design and the rock structure, you won't get hotter than 75 degrees in the caves, which is at least 30 degrees cooler than what's going on at the surface. And that's a big difference when you're trying to live comfortably. Speaking of which, some have been able to outfit their homes with things like pools, and their homes within the mines are actually rather nice. So they turned a bad situation into a very nice one. More or less, that is. Number 1. The Vegas Tunnels. Las Vegas is a very unique city, so much so that its tunnels are home to many people and not exactly in the way you're expecting. True, there are the usual suspects in terms of people with physical or mental issues or substance abuse problems, but a lot of people live down there because they lost their money in the Vegas casinos and don't have anything left. However, some are actually fully employed people. They just don't want to pay the cost of Las Vegas rent. I'm not even kidding right now. John Atchison told The Guardian, "I could get an apartment, but all my money would go to rent, food, electricity, and water. By the time I was done, there'd be no money left over to do anything." Some even use their situation to keep track of people who might be up for helping them out. Any way you can get a buck in Vegas is good, right? Have you ever visited any of these underground cities? Let us know in the comments below and take care.